My name's David Kemsell. I'm the Managing Director of First Thought Equine and designer of the Wales Saddle. Today, the object of the exercise is to try and show you the difference between our head plates, the correct place to fit them, and how they should look on your horse. Here you see the three different styles of head plate that we make for our Wales saddles. We call them V, U and W. They differ with the arc at the top. Here you'll see this one, the V one, would be for a very fine withered horse, very narrow in front. This is your Mr. Average in the middle, and then here is for somebody like Harry behind me, more of a cob shape or a very wide broad wither that you might find in your warmbloods. Here we have Harry. He's a cob. He's got a very broad wide wither, not much definition to the shoulder. So obviously we're not going to be using a V head plate on this boy. We're going to be using either our U head plate or our W head plate. Now I've selected a number 3 head plate for this boy, which is around about 100 degrees. That's the angle between these two parts of the head plate. You'll notice they are both the same angle, but it's the arc at the top, and you'll see what a difference it makes when we actually put them on his back. Now where do we actually place these? We should be placing them 2 inches back behind the scapula that is furthest back, and with Harry that's the one on the left shoulder. So here we've got the scapula. If I jam my 3 fingers in behind that scapula, I know my fingers that's about 2 inches. So I want to be placing this head plate, the centre of that hole, underneath my 3rd finger there, so I half cover the hole. That is where our head plate should be sitting. That's the edge of his shoulder. This is where the head plate will sit. Okay. Here you see a U-shaped head plate, size 3. You're going to put it on Harry in the correct position, and you can see how we've got this head plate sitting up quite significantly in front on this horse. Now on some horses you may wish that, because you may actually want to raise the front of the saddle to keep it in balance. Well, on this horse he's quite well put together, and we need to lower the front of the saddle. So you can see how high the arch is here. When I take my W head plate and I put it in exactly the same place, you'll see how much lower this sits and how much better it bridges the width of his wither. Now as you can see, Harry has got condition behind the shoulder, or otherwise known as fat. So we mustn't fit the fat, because the fat is a loose, wobbly substance. What we've got to do is fit the muscle underneath that fat. So don't be scared with a fat horse to actually press the head plate down in behind the shoulder, and you can see then you can run your finger down behind the head plate and gauge the pressure, and that should be equal all the way through from here to here. It'll be the same when I put the U head plate on. The difference, however, is how high it sits over his wither and how close the panels are going to be at this point when we put the saddle on. Here we have a number 2 head plate and a number 4 head plate. We've just seen Harry takes the number 3. So now I'm just going to show you the difference, what you look for in an incorrect fitting head plate. Here we have the number 4 head plate. I'm going to put it in exactly the same position as the number 3. Now it looks good. Everything looks fine. You'd think that this would be the right head plate. When I start to press down, however, and I put my finger behind, I have tightness here and absolutely nothing at the base or the tip of this head plate. And if we look, we've got a lot of movement, which is basically Harry's fat moving around. So we don't want this. We want a solid position for this head plate. Now we're going to go with the number 2 head plate. We're going to put it in exactly the same position, and hopefully you'll see that that is far too tight and all the pressure is right at the bottom of your leg of your head plate, right at the tip. Okay, so this is Norman. He's a warm blood and he's got a totally different shape to Harry. So we're going to fit him next with some head plates and show you the difference of what to look for with him. Okay, the head plate size that we've selected for Norman is our number 1 size, about 90 degrees. Okay, so here you'll see these are all size 1 head plates. We have a V version at the bottom, in the middle we have the U version, and at the top we have the W version. They are all the same angle, but they've all got a different width at the top to accommodate different widths of wither. As you can see with Norman, he's got a much narrower width profile, quite prominent shoulders. First of all, the V head plate. Again, 3 fingers behind if you've got normal size of fingers, 2 inches, 5 centimetres behind the edge of the scapula, which is more defined on Norman, and we're trying to put the centre of the hole 5 centimetres back. Also note the angle of the head plate. It's leaning backwards by about 45 degrees. Not too far, but it's definitely not standing vertical. We want it to be leaning back. Now, this is our V head plate, and you can see it fits him quite snugly at the top. But what the question you have to ask yourself is, when it's sitting in the saddle, am I putting too much pressure by literally having these panels so close together here against the wither? It is dependent on how much these muscles activate and how hollow this horse is, but we're looking at the shape here. It fits him very nicely. Here's the U head plate, and here you'll see it looks sloppy on him, looks much wider. The angle is still the same, it still fits him, but it's given him more room, or given us more room, to put more panel, more thickness of panel underneath this saddle. He has to rotate these shoulders back underneath the saddle. If we put this V head plate on this horse, we could effectively almost be trapping the shoulder, whereas with the U head plate, with a thicker panel, maybe a double D panel, we can allow him more room to actually get his shoulder underneath the saddle. But then we'll go to the W. Now this guy definitely does not need a W head plate, and you can see if I move it from side to side, literally how much room that allows. There is no way that we could ever put a W head plate on this type of horse.